the number of people who partnered with the police in order to give them fuel, and that is the fuel budget this year was 46.5 billion, and the police need around 205,660 trillion billion annually to fuel its entire fleet, but it is running short by about 60,000 billions this very year, and that is what is trending in the Daily Monitor. That is the first page. And moving forward, earlier this month, the president, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, freed over 19 NUP supporters, and their testimonies about the time in prison is what is happening again on the second page on the Daily Monitor, and that is today's story is from Simon Kujumba, who was one of the 19 NUP party supporters convicted of treachery and unlawful possession of ammunition, but were granted a presidential pardon on November 27th. And his story, you can be able to follow his story about his experience in the prison due to this factor in today's Daily Monitor. And again, we'll have to congratulate the students who are graduating. That is Chambogo University that recently graduated last week, as well as IU. And in the Daily Monitor today, there is a story about a lady known as Miss Judith Jimbo, who was a jackfruit seller, but as of today, she is a graduate, and her only wish is that well-wishers give her job opportunities and also help her construct a house for her mother and her siblings. So congratulations to Madame Judith. And moving forward again, there is the full story about the police running on fumes after fuel is cut off. And let's be reminded that every car or every vehicle, police vehicle, needs at least 10 liters of fuel per day in order to operate. So that is why there is this rising or increasing money that is being owed by the police to their fuel distributors. And as we prepare for Christmas celebrations or the festivities of 2024, fairs soar ahead of Christmas, and the festive season is here, and there are expectations of changes in transport fares. And according to the different transporters interviewed by the newspaper, they said that the rise in charges helps them to offset the dwindling number of passengers on return journeys. Now, this is probably because most families here and there in Kampala, all around all commercial areas within Uganda, be moving back to their villages in order to celebrate with their loved ones. And that brings me to a little reminder that about the safety ways in order of transport use. So please keep yourself safe as you are on the road and you are heading home. And yeah, getting back to the Daily Monitor. In preparation for the forthcoming electoral campaigns as well as elections, there is an article about Mpunga getting backlash in call for joint opposition candidates. And now Mpunga is the former leader of opposition of the Parliament of Uganda, and there is an issue of opposition leaders expressing challenges like trust issues and past failures to agree on a single candidate. And moving forward, Museveni gives thumbs up to Catholic Church on youth, and the government calls for promoting economic empowerment through initiatives like coffee farming and the Operation Wealth Creation. And that is one of the stories again. And moving forward about the PDM initiative, when we talk about creation, Operation Wealth Creation, UBOS, or the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, transfers 60,000 tablets for PDM, and this is in hand with the 2026 election work. And that means that the local government will take 23,897 tablets to strengthen the PDM information systems at the community level, while the Electoral Commission will use theirs to prepare for the polls. And that is an interesting story that is again in today's Daily Monitor. And as we move forward again, we see an article from the FDC Owners Peacemaker, who honor Nabwiso. Now, Dr. Nabwiso will be remembered as a humble, peace-loving, and a leader who was dedicated to his life, to his life and to fostering unity, as he played a crucial role as a chairperson of the Elders Committee, and he passed earlier this week, and may his soul rest in peace, for the country has lost a great soldier. And moving forward again, we have an article from the ministry that calls for approval of vocational studies in quest of improving education, as well as equipping young people with education that is going to make them job creators and not job seekers. And moving forward, there is an interview from the new president of Syria, as he, known as Assad, as he falls open a new chapter for Syrians, and this is attributed to the fact that he has been able to overthrow the leadership of the previous president that had held Syria on decades. Now, that is an interview that you will be able to get more details on, or more intel on, when you get yourself a copy of today's Daily Monitor. And moving forward, we do have a number of issues about the police, and they need the support of the Ugandans. And the quote of the day in today's Daily Monitor actually advises people to not listen to any propaganda as we prepare for the incoming presidential elections of 2026. Yes, and moving forward again, on page 14, we see that there is an article about traditional circumcision rituals when they go wrong. Now, this circumcision is a common culture when it comes to Bagisu culture, and there is an article about that, as well as an article on understanding mental health impacts of climate change on women at the margins. Yes. Also, interestingly, there is an article on page 16 about the International Monetary Fund and its situation with Uganda. And this is one of the articles is from Dr. Walker Sebastian, who expounds on how government can survive with reduced donor funding and slash its huge appetite for borrowing. Now, Uganda's public debt or foreign debt, it stands as of June 2024, it stands at 94 trillion shillings. That is in Ugandan shillings, and out of which 54 trillion is external debt and 40.6 trillion is domestic debt. Now, be reminded that these shillings are all in Ugandan shillings. Now, that is an article also that is in today's New Vision, Daily Monitor. And moving forward, there is a talk on the coming celebrations of Christmas, and there is the question of our sales, Christmas sales overrated, or it is just the rise of expenditure due to the season. And interestingly, today Daily Monitor actually covers a topic that we are going to be looking at in our Business Insights, and that is budget with the 50-30-20 rule. And if you are looking into preparing yourself for the financial year or the coming year 2025 and being ahead of your finances, this is an article that you should equip yourself with. So grab yourself a copy of today's Daily Monitor. Now again, moving forward on page 20 of the Daily Monitor, we see that the Bank of Uganda outlines reforms for tenfold growth. Now, in order to achieve the tenfold growth strategy in the next 15 years, the government should undertake key structural reforms in the pension sector, innovative financial products, and strengthen market structure, according to the central bank. Now, of course, that is an article that you can get in today's Daily Monitor, among others. And let's switch over and see what is happening in today's New Vision. Of course, let's be reminded that the date today is 17th December of 2024, and the day being an early morning of a Tuesday. And of course, the first page of today's New Vision looks at congratulating Chabazinga Nadiope on celebrating his 36th birthday. And yes, that is what we are having for the front page. And UPDF trains 600 officers in order to enhance warfare capacity. And there is an image of the president, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, inspecting those who have completed the training and are looking forward to joining the UPDF. Again, about what is happening, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni orders swift investigations into the recent suspects of the PDM money fumbling or exploitation. Now, among the many were parish chiefs such as Joseph Bale and John Rogers Mutebi, who so happened to be a Masaka district production officer, who also doubled as the parish development model local person. Now, we've had continuous conversations about this wealth creation strategy of the PDM and the issues it is facing. This is an article that can help you get to know more about what is happening when it comes to the parish development model. Yes, moving forward again, page 44 of the New Vision talks about the First Lady urging SFC soldiers' wives to develop a savings culture. Now, this is attributed to the increasing number of the women, as a number of them have been able to successfully complete an occupational competence-based assessment by the Directorate of Industrial Training. We all know that saving is the future when it comes to financial liberty and independence. So in order to be able to get that, the First Lady, of course, added her voice to many to help and interact with these ladies and encourage them to save money. And moving forward, clerics face probe over healing powers. And this is attributed to a number of factors that you will find in today's New Vision. Due to the incoming or the final completion of the national exams, UNEB speaks out on UCE exams. Examiners standoff, and this says that sources say that the examiners were reportedly told that they would receive 950 Ugandan shillings per paper. 950 shillings per paper, but they believe they deserve at least 1,500 shillings per paper, arguing that it was a heavy workload to mark the exams. And yes, General Muhoozi holds talks with Ethiopian PM. And this meeting was between the Prime Minister Abiy, and it underscores strengthening bilateral ties between Uganda and Ethiopia. That and more is what you will find in today's New Vision, and that is what we had for you for the press, or what is trending in the press today. So let's go for a brief break, and we shall be back for Karibu East Africa, as well as what is trending internationally. Yes, welcome back, and I hope you are having a good morning. Now, as Smart Means Business, or as Smart 24, we are dedicated to bringing to you what is trending in the business world in order to help you make the best business decisions. And that is starting off by looking at what is happening in foreign trade, especially that of Kenya. And Kenya is to open markets for duty-free European imports after trade deal takes effect. And Kenya and the European Union have enforced a trade deal after a decade of negotiations, opening up the domestic market for tax-free goods from the 27-country bloc after 25 years. And the EU-Kenya Economic Partnership Agreement, known as the EPA, which preserves unrestricted access to Kenyan goods to the European bloc except of arms, came into force on Monday. Kenya's Cabinet Secretary for Investment, Trade and Industry, Rebecca Maino, announced this information earlier in the week. And the agreement includes trade, economic and development cooperation, as well as chapter on trade and sustainable development, which covers provision on labor issues, gender equality, forestry and environment, and the fight against climate change. Now, when we look at Kenya and looking at it as the East African bloc or the regional integration of the East African community, Kenya must be the leading country when it comes to economic growth and development. And every other day, the news that we are having are surrounding Kenya and its dedication to growing its economy. And this is one of the articles as it is looking into improving the quality of trade between Europe and Kenya when it comes to the importation level. So that is one of the reasons as to why Kenya is probably one of the best or the most leading East African country. And of course, continuing with the news of Karibu East Africa today, we look at again Kenya, and that is Kenya's Airways or airlines cancelled Dubai flights as severe weather hits the United Arab Emirates. Now, Kenya Airways has cancelled passenger flights in and out of Dubai following severe weather and ongoing floods in the Middle East nation. And the carrier in the statement Wednesday said that the first flight into and out of Dubai was cancelled on Tuesday, while one more flight was cancelled today. And there is one of a phrase from one of the workers at the airport who says that we are monitoring the situation and are in close contact with Dubai authorities to minimize the inconvenience and disruption to our customer service. And that was in one of the statements that they made. And while apologizing to the customers for the inconvenience caused, KQ has the airline is known by its international code, advised affected passengers to contact its customer lines for help. Now, if you are in Uganda and of course you were looking into taking a flight through Kenya to Dubai, that is information that you would probably need to look through, and maybe you could be able to contact the Kenya Airways through their customer service line. And moving forward, when it comes to the political instability, or one of the reasons as to why the East African community is having a number of issues when it comes to economic growth as a region, we can't fail to look at the different political instabilities that are happening in the different East African countries, and that one of them being Sudan. And at least, as of today, at least 127, mostly civilians, have been killed in 2 days in the Sudan bombardments. And at least mostly were civilians, like I earlier said, and the bombardings happened Tuesday and Monday by barrel bombs and shelling from the warring sides, rights activists said. Now, the 20-month-old war between the army and the RSF has been turning increasingly bloody as ceasefire efforts have stalled and crisis elsewhere has dominated world attention. The army has stepped up airstrikes in the half of the country that RSF controls, while the RSF has staged raids on villages and intense artillery strikes. Both have targeted densely populated civilian areas. And of course, this causes worry to the rest of the community, as the political instability in Sudan alone does not affect it alone. Rather, it affects the whole continent or the whole nation, given that there is a rumor that Sudan is importing its weapons from the United Arab Emirates, and that was spoken on by the UN earlier in the week, as they are against this kind of movement because one of their notions is speaking about peace or maintaining peace within the whole globe or around the globe. And I'm continuing with the story. The army has continuously targeted or has frequently targeted towns in North Darfur with airstrikes as it fights the RSF for control of the state capital. It also denied responsibility for the attack on Kabia, while insisting that it had the right target on any location used by the RSF for military purposes. Now that is what is happening within the capital of Sudan, and we pray for their utmost safety as we head into the new year 2025. And continuing with the news, of course, we transition to what is happening around the globe or what is happening internationally, and we look at a new tax rule that brings significant clarity for India's crypto investors. India has been commonly known for a number of issues in regards to solar power schemes, a lot of IT integration, and cryptocurrency is one of them. So there is a number of increasing use of cryptocurrency, which has reflected to a creation of a new tax in order to bring clarity for the people investing in that space. So to all the crypto people that we have around, please don't forget to grab yourself to be able to follow this story, as it is one that could be one that is interesting. And this is happening in New Delhi, where cryptocurrencies and capital assets and any profits made on their sale prior to 2022 rules laid down by the government should be considered capital gains and taxed accordingly. The income tax has been ruled, and the decision is significant as it recognizes virtual digital assets as well as capital assets and experts. Let's be reminded that cryptocurrency has recently become a bit more expensive than it was, especially the Bitcoin, prior or after the presidential bid between Kamala Harris and His Excellency Donald Trump, which happened, and it led to the rise of the cryptocurrency space. So thank you so much for tuning in for our business updates today on what's trending within Uganda, East Africa, as well as international. Let's go for a brief break, and we shall be coming back for our beautiful inspiration moment. Stay tuned.